Hello, testing, testing. Is the sound system good? I know there's not a lot of people watching because this is just an impromptu. I was supposed to be on Facebook, but now I'm on YouTube. If you can hear me, type a me, please. My first time to live stream, so I'm a little bit raw. And I just wanted to get the hang of it and connect with you guys. If there's anybody else from the Philippines, kumusta? Mabuhay din. Anyways, to get the ball rolling, if you guys have any Feng Shui question out there, please just type it in and let's see if we can warm up to a level wherein we can have more chats going. I'm just doing this. It's quite experimental, but hopefully it's gonna pick up. And if I do have more people interested, I'll start doing a chat every month. That is, if I get the hang of all this live streaming and if my schedule permits. So anyways, okay. Any of you have questions or anything like that? I was going to okay, any question? I was going to start with something that in case nobody asks questions. By the way, can you still hear me? Type a me, please, because I don't have any clue as to if you're hearing me or something. So anyways, bear with me a bit. So if there are anybody there with a question, okay. Audrey, yes. Flying stars for March enters the east and northwest part. What curious to put there? Okay, the stars that are the flying star number 2 flies into the east for March 2023, and the flying star number 5 flies to the northwest part of 2023. I think what you're asking is the monthly chart. Okay, what did I just say? I just mentioned something about the yearly chart. Okay, so what happens here is that yes, the number 2 is on the east, and for the month of March, the number 5 flies to the east, and then the number 8 flies to the northwest. But the number 5 is still in the northwest part of your home. The annual number 5 is still there, and the number 8 is still there. So if you're trying to remedy the northwest part, then as I mentioned before in other videos, the best remedy would be to actually move out of that room if you're using that room or that sector frequently, especially if it's your bedroom or your work or office room. Okay, if it's a room that you're actually using and you have an alternate room that you can use, best thing is to avoid using that place. Now, notwithstanding, if you can't do that, then what you can do is apply the metal element cures for that particular section, the northwest section. And likewise, it's going to be the same advice that I would give you for the east sector, because of the fact that the annual number 2 is in there. So it's an illness star. And then the number 5, yellow, which is a bad luck of misfortune star, actually flies into the east as well for the month of March. So it's kind of a double whammy. So if at all possible, the same advice is for the east as well. If you don't have to use the east, you can actually like if you have a bedroom there, especially if you have a bedroom there and you're not feeling 100%, so elderly people, you might want to move to another section of your house and use that other section and avoid using the east, because of the fact that it has the number 2 and the number 5 star, both negative stars, and it would be really difficult to of course the other remedy is, if you can't avoid not using these 2 sectors, the northwest and the east sector, then apply the metal remedy. I have a video there that actually uses that I showed how I use the metal weights to actually to actually be placed in that particular sector, the northwest and the number 2 in the east sector for this particular month and this particular year. Okay, so if you already have your metal cures in place starting at the start of the year 2023, then you just leave it there. Just leave it there, because they're there to remedy the number 2 and the number 5 in the east and the northwest sector. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question, Audrey, and that would be the best cure. And well, actually, Feng Shui, when we're really practicing Feng Shui, what we really do is not necessarily to place objects. What we try to do is to avoid using it. Okay, so it's a matter of avoiding, and just using the auspicious sectors and tapping and harnessing to the auspicious energies that's around our environment. So if we know a particular room has bad energies, then we don't go there. Okay, so we just avoid it. And instead of classical Feng Shui doesn't really subscribe to enhancing and remedying every place, every room. Okay, you tackle, let's say you have a Feng Shui problem, so you tackle that problem, and then because you can't tackle everything, right? So what is the uppermost problem that you have, or challenge that you have right now, and that's what you try to resolve. So if health is your number one concern, then you tackle that issue using Feng Shui. Okay. So again, we don't really recommend enhancing and remedying every sector of your home. And we don't also recommend a lot of object placements. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. I know I'm not getting a lot of viewers, because this is just impromptu. I was supposed to be on Facebook. I just also wanted to try the YouTube to see if I can get the hang of it. Hopefully there's other people that will show up. So did that answer your question, Audrey? Now you're gonna be my favorite person here because you showed up. Anyways, so hopefully you heard, and okay, Audrey, since you're here, I'm going to just give you a tip. Okay, you mentioned something about your induction cooker and the rice cooker to the south side. Actually, when we talk about kitchen and stove and open fire, we talk about, let's say, a gas range or electric stove top. And you see the fire burning on the top. Hopefully, I'm making sense here. Okay, so when you have a gas burner, you see the fire, so it's open fire. When you have an electric conduction oven or something like that, you still see the rim of the electrical stuff. So these are basically considered open fire, so like a stove. So when your kitchen is in an area where the negative energy, it's a little bit tricky. It's like last year, when the number 5 was in the center of the house, and you have a kitchen in there, and you have nowhere to place your kitchen, like you're saying you're moving it to the south. The best remedy at that time, if somebody was to ask me, is to use what you just mentioned, the rice cooker and the induction or the pressure cooker or something like that, okay, or the instant pot cooker, because they're not considered open fire like a stove. They're sealed. So once you close the rice cooker lid, you have a solid, it's not open fire. So kind of you can get away with using that in that particular sector. Okay, this is a tip that I got from my Feng Shui teacher, so I wasn't quite aware. So because you asked, and you're special right now, because I'm looking at you right now, that's a tip that I got from one of my Feng Shui teacher. Okay, so I wasn't sure about it until I think last year. That was the tip that I was given. Okay, so if you're using a rice cooker and a pressure cooker, and the oven, it's a container all by itself. So it's how do you call it? It's not considered like an open fire, like a stovetop type of thing. Okay, so yeah, I know quite a few of the Feng Shui questions out there concerns the Northwest, and having a how do you call this, a kitchen in the Northwest, because it's really a no-no, especially when you do have a man in the house, that type of thing, because the Northwest is the patriarch sector. Okay, in the chart, the Northwest is the patriarch, the Southwest is the mother chart. So we have two important figure in the household. So whatever is in those sectors does apply to these two important, especially if they're the main income earner. Okay, so that's anyway, I hope you got that. I'm not sure. You have my full attention right now, Audrey. So, you know, and hopefully you can actually convey to your friends out there in the Philippines that, I do Feng Shui. Actually, I also speak a bit of Tagalog. So, hey, the secret's out now. So I can speak a bit of Tagalog. Actually, probably even a bit of Visaya. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Hopefully there are other people that have questions, or you can ask me more questions. I don't mind. And who's going to? Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm glad you're finding that this is helpful. I hope you subscribe to my channel. Is that how you found me? I mean, this live stream was unannounced, so it's kind of a hit and miss. I announced my Facebook live stream, but I just said, okay, I'm just gonna come and do a live stream here on YouTube. Are there other viewers out there that I am not aware of? Because it'd be nice if you guys say hi. Not my techie guys, please. Yeah. Anyways, so there's how do you call this? I was going to do a little bit of how do you call this? I was going to do a little bit of intro just in case. Just like right now, I don't have too many viewers, and just to get me warm up, I was going to do a bit of intro into the Flying Stars Feng Shui in terms of trying to figure out what is the period of your house. Okay, so hopefully I'm recording this so I can actually use it again, hopefully. But I wanted to just touch on the period of your house because of the fact that there are confusing side or confusing view or two views basically on what the period of your house is going to be derived from. Okay, so let me see here. I'm just gonna do this, so you're hopefully this is fine. Anyway, so a little bit of background here is about the 20-year cycle period, what they consider great cycle in Feng Shui. Okay, and it's it goes back to the subject of time. Okay, so in Feng Shui, the largest unit of the time, it consists of 180 years, and it's called the Great Cycle, the Dayuan. And with the February 4 in 1864 marking the very beginning of the 180 years we are currently in. So the cycle officially ends in February 4 of 2044. Okay, as you can see here, there's on the chart, you'll see from 1864 to 2044, and I'm blocking you. Okay, so with the beginning of a new cycle, great cycle again, right? So it's divided. This great cycle is divided into 3 cycles of 60 years each: the upper cycle, the middle cycle, and the lower cycle. By the way, you're actually getting this video a little bit delayed because I'm talking here and something else is anyway. So the great cycle is also divided into 9 luck periods composed of 20 years each, as you can see here. So you have on the screen the upper cycle, and you have period 1, 2, 3, which consists of the upper cycle, and then the middle cycle, which is consists of period 4, 5, 6, and then you can see the years that it's between what year to what year. And then you have the lower cycle, you have the 7, 8, 9 periods. And right now where we are right now in 2023, we are in the last part of period 8 in the lower cycle. Okay, and so the 2022 lower cycle or 2004 to 2023 is considered period 8. Now what that means is, like, if you're trying to find your house permanent energies or natal chart, you have to look at when the house was constructed or built or born. Okay, so that's one part. If if the house was constructed in 2004, between that time to 2023, then it's considered a period 8 house. It was constructed in that time frame. Okay, now there's all this talk about period 9 houses, but we don't have any period 9 houses as yet. Okay, there's no period 9 houses as yet, because 2024 is the start of period 9, and we're not even in 2024. Okay, so the upper cycle, the lower cycle, the middle cycle, all this thing, this information is important, especially when we're, like I said, when we're trying to determine the year the construction of your house was born into. Okay, so again, we are currently in period 8, and we will be transiting to period 9, which starts 2024 to 2043. But the energies of period 9 already has settled in, has transited into our current lives from the start of 2020. And I think everybody know that there was a very big change, a very big happening in 2020 when the pandemic arrived. Okay, so we already feel the transition, because period 9 is also a period that belongs to the fire element. Okay, so it has already been coming into effect since 2020, and will actually come in full force in February 4 of 2024. So hopefully that is clear. So the next step that sometimes you want to find out, like, we're trying to find out the period of our house. So how do you determine that? There are two different views, Feng Shui views out there, that actually considers, one, the construction date, and another one is when you move in. Okay, so when I say construction date, it's like, the period 8 house, if it was constructed in period 8, definitely it is period 8. But what happens if you're looking at a very old house that, say, was constructed, let's say, in one of this other period? Let's say it was built in 1944, or 1964, so it's called a period 6 house. Or if it was built in 1984 and 2003, then it's actually considered a period 7 house. So what happens if you actually are moving into this type of house? So some people actually will still follow the Feng Shui practice of having or looking at the construction date, or when the house was built, and go from there. So if they think that it was built in period 7, one of the years in there, before, like, let's say 2001, then it's period 7 house. Then, but the Feng Shui practice that I follow does not, look at the move-in date. Okay, looks at the move-in date from our perspective. So if your house, let's say, if your house was built in 1985, let's say, okay, and let's say you're buying a resale house, I do real estate, by the way. So if you're buying a house built in 1985, and the people who bought that house are still living there in 1980, when you're trying to buy, when they're selling it, then you're buying it in, let's say, 2009, then you move in 2009, you follow your move-in date, which means you're moving into that house in period 8. Okay, so that house, if you're considering your, let's say, your floor plan, your permanent chart, what does your house energy have? You're looking at period 8. Okay, so you're not looking at the construction date. It doesn't matter, let's say, if the house was built in 1965 and then the owner has been living in there for the whole time, and then suddenly in 2022 you bought it. You bought the house and then you moved into that house. So when you're looking at when you're asking yourself the question, what period is my house, you're actually looking at the fact that that you move in period 8. So that's considered a period. Your house is considered a period 8 house. There's a logic to that. Okay, so again, I hope that's clear. So there's two views out there. One says construction, the other one says move-in date. And the Feng Shui I follow, we look at the move-in date. Okay, and again, all this information, like if as our Feng Shui practice, follow this as a reference point, because the thing is, there's two other elements that actually is also involved, and we call that the Trinity of Luck. So you have this luck that says there's a heaven luck, and then there's an earth luck, and then there's a man luck. So looking at the move-in date, we actually consider the man luck there. Okay, so you have to have these 3 luck together to actually form the energy of that particular house. Okay, so am I really delayed here anyway? Okay, so that is basically one of the explanation for the move-in date as being the basis, to consider whether your house is which period your house is in. Okay, and then how call this? So the other thing is, like, I think people have been asking what would be the best date to move in. Okay, so this is an aside, and sometimes we want to choose an auspicious date to move in. Okay, but a move-in date is quite irrelevant if we don't have a house that has good feng shui. Okay, you can always move in on a good date, but it won't change the feng shui of the house. You have to look at the feng shui of the property, or it's a waste of time. Okay, so what I'm saying here is the landform feng shui, is critical, is crucial, which is the environment, which is basically landform, which is the natural environment, which is the outside exterior environment of your property. That is very important. Like when I said the move-in date, even if it's good, is immaterial if you don't have real good feng shui outside. And that's the reality of it. Okay, because with good feng shui outside, you actually will be benefiting, because you're actually drawing the good energies from the environment already. So basically your house is going to be considered a good house with good feng shui, or a good feng shui house. Okay, so that also goes back to, I have a video about this on the 4 factors of feng shui that is taken into consideration when we're doing audit. When you ask for a feng shui consultation, there are 4 factors that we actually consider. environment, the building, the time, and the people or the residents. Okay, so these are factors that we actually are considering, or we consider. Okay, so where am I with this? Okay, again, going back to my Trinity of Luck, this is basically what it means. The heaven luck is when you have the roof, okay? And the earth luck is when you start building the walls. So you have the walls, and then you have the roof, and now you have to fill that house with the people. So the three luck, or the three energies combined, will actually give you the house's natal chart, and the house's without one it's kind of incomplete. Okay, so that's basically the simplest way of just how do you call this, interpreting the Trinity of Luck at the same, in terms of a house and their natal chart and their period. And by the way, all these are just, the heaven luck is only 33%, and earth luck is the same, and man luck is the same, 33%. So everybody is thinking that, okay, I have bad feng shui. No. I mean, don't be so, like, how do you call it? Have the feeling that there's really no hope, because, even if you have a good house and whatever, but you don't want to do anything, you just want, let's say you want to be financially well off, but you're not ready to put in the effort and the sweat and the tears, then it's still not going to happen unless you win the lottery. But how many people win the lottery anyway? So anyway, okay, so hopefully that takes care of that. I know. Yes. Welcome, M. Lane. Welcome, and I hope you're benefiting from my short insight to this the feng shui of the period of houses. Okay, and if you do have a question, please type it in. And okay, and okay, let's move on to, there's another question that some of you might ask there, and this concerns people that live in apartment buildings. Okay, again, what about the period of your apartment building unit? Okay, is it the move-in date, or is the construction date again? Now, for apartment building, it's really, really tricky and quite impossible if you really think about it, because you're not the only occupants of that building. Okay, when it comes to apartment building, it's considered like all the units in that particular building are just considered rooms in that big building under that one roof. It's like rooms. So you might have the south sector room, somebody might have the northwest sector room, the other one might have an east sector room. So all the units in there are just basically considered rooms in there. Now, so it's going to be really difficult. Like, even if you move in, let's say, if the building was built in period 6, and you and your family moved in period 8, doesn't make any difference what period the house is. It doesn't go with your move-in date, okay? Because you're not the first occupant that moved in there. Okay, so in terms of condominium apartment and apartment buildings, when it's multi tenanted, when it's multi residents in there, it's really impossible to change the period of that particular building. Okay, so it's not like a landed house wherein you're the only occupant, you and your family the only occupants, let's say, and then you move in that particular time frame. So you consider your move-in date. Okay. Okay. So how do you call this? Okay, M Lane. Which sector is the most important? The front door? The three main sectors I was going to, especially when we're transitioning into period 9 and when we're asking if our current house is compliant with what is required, or is our house period 9 compliant or something like that. There are three main factors that actually you have to consider. So going back to your question, which sector is the most important? Well, the front door is important, but likewise is your bedroom, and likewise is your kitchen. Okay, because the thing is, like, the other two will actually take care of your health, whereas the front door is your chi mouth, which takes care of your income, your source of income. Okay, so when it comes to all these other rooms, okay, I know a lot of times we even think about the feng shui of the toilets. Okay, so the toilet is not really a room where you spend a lot of time in. Okay, so the living room, yes or no? Being a real estate agent, I know some of the houses, they hardly use the living room. It was more of a room that's just being displayed, or just for a formal occasion or for formal use. So it's not really a highly used room, unless it's a small house and the living room serves as a double function, as a family room and a living room. But most of the time, it doesn't do that. So it's not one of the factors, call it factors, that we consider when we're looking, or when we're analyzing the feng shui of a house. Okay, but so it's again the main door, the front door, yes, it's important. The kitchen, yes, it's important. That's where you're held. The bedroom, yes, it's important because that's where you sleep. Okay, so how do you call this? I know that some of you, like as I was mentioning earlier, you don't enhance every part of your room. Okay, classical feng shui, or the real feng shui that I practice, do not go around and put cures in every room. Okay, and or enhance all the positive. The simplest way to practice feng shui is to use the space. Okay, use the space. How do you activate the room? Use the space. How do you avoid the negative energies of the room? Avoid the space. Simple. A lot of times, a lot of people want to make it more complicated, and it just complicates our life, right? And but I think that the most important part is anyway. How many audience do I have? The most important part, if I have to give a suggestion, like sometimes I get all these questions, and sometimes I just want to say, please find your natal chart first of your house. Okay, that's the most important. If if you own a house and you get an audit, consult, or find for yourself the natal chart of your house, because that's where you will find the permanent energies of each sector of your home. Okay, and from there you feng shui your home. Okay, and when that is feng shui, then the yearly flying star, or the yearly feng shui, and the monthly feng shui, or even the daily feng shui, is just you know, trimmings. It's just, how do you call this, tweaking, you know. So because when you feng shui the permanent energies of your home, you're targeting for long-term benefits, you know, for long-term success, for generational success, right? So if you intend to live in that particular house for 10, 20 years, you know, you just want to make sure, like Warren Buffett has never left his original home. Why? Because he probably knows that it's a good house with good energies in there. Why move away from a house that's been giving him so much luck and so much positive benefits, right? So, you know, if you find a good house with good feng shui, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to move away or whatever. So again, find the natal chart, find the permanent energies of your house, and do the feng shui for it, so it's for long term. Okay, and then from there, how would you call this? You know, the monthly and the yearly feng shui. And when you, let's say, when you find, like you were mentioning earlier, if you have the number 2 in your east sector, but let's say your permanent energies in the east sector is really good, and outside that is your feng shui landform is really good, that annual energy, the negative annual energy, is not going to really cause you any problem, because you have all this other good side that's going to overpower all the negative part. Okay, so and likewise, let's say if you're in you know, we all have these different sectors. Each sector has an element. So if a negative energy goes into, let's say, yes, you were mentioning number 2 star that goes into the number 2 annual star going into the east sector right now. We all know the east sector is wood element, okay? So, and the number 2 is earth element. So number 2 going into the wood sector is really not going to be a very strong number 2, okay? Because of the fact that it's going into a wood element, east, okay? Likewise, if number 5 goes to the west sector, it's also not going to be a strong number 5. Why? Because the west sector is the metal element sector. So, and you know, the metal is the one that actually remedies or controls the number 5, the earth element. Okay, hopefully I'm making sense here. Okay, when it comes to objects, I don't subscribe to objects. I don't put charms. I know way back, way back, long time ago, somebody gave me a bakwa map, and I said no, I don't use that. And I think I was also given 2 lion figurines. No, I don't display that either. I mean, most of these things, like you're asking, is there charms, bracelet? I mean, I like charms, I like bracelets, you know, those type of things. But it's more for aesthetic, it's more for personal preference. Okay, like if I was gonna hang something or whatever, it's gonna be because I like the object. And if I put, let's say, a pot of plant there, it's because, you know, not specifically connected with the feng shui. And mind you, when you're placing a cure in a particular place, you have to make sure that you're doing it at the right time, basically. Because like I know there's people that have asked, like, do I put my metal cures before at the beginning of, let's say, January of this year, 2023? I would say no, you don't place your cures in January, because the start of the year of the water rabbit doesn't start until February 4 of 2023. So you placing your cures is not going to, how do you call this, do the job of curing what is not there yet. Okay, so that's you know. So if number 2 star has not arrived in the east sector, and then you actually put in, how do you call this, you know, the elemental cure, you're actually curing, you're actually trying to, you're not doing it, you're not doing it to the number 2, you're actually doing it to the star that was in there before, the number 3 or something like that. Okay, so placement of cures also has to be timely. Okay, everything has to be timely, so there's a time. That's why, you know, Feng Shui, you consider it's a consideration of time and space. It's also about direction and location. Okay, and it's not about object placement. Okay, it's more like you have an object, but it's more on what is the timing, when do you really put this there to have that object or to have the metal cure effective. Because if not, then, you know. Anyway, so I hope that clears something. I like charms. It's just that I don't wear them as often, and I think in particular when the pandemic struck, I just remove a lot of my little trinkets here. Too much washing. Okay. So hopefully I'm making sense here. Anyway, if I like, do I continue with I think I've actually mentioned this earlier. Okay, so this on the slide that you see here, we are looking at the natal charts of period 6, 7, 8 house, and on the slide you can see that they have the different facing direction. So if you're actually practicing traditional Feng Shui, this is what you're going to be looking at when you're going into the advanced level. Okay, I'm hoping that I can put out there some beginners level and then guide you guys through to the advanced level, because going just here to the advanced level is just going to say, what are you talking about sometimes. So I mean, we talk about period 8, we talk about period 9, but what exactly are they, you know, in terms of the flying star chart. Okay, so anyway, what you see here is the natal chart of a house facing south 1, a house facing west 2, west 3, a house facing west 2, west 3 again, and then a house facing north 1. Okay, so there will be slight different, you can see the numbers changing. Okay, so when people say the southeast sector is our lucky sector or wealth sector, you know, you begin to wonder, because the houses are there, were not built all at the same time. And even if you have a subdivision wherein 5 houses in a row have been built at the same time, you have to consider, like I was saying earlier, you consider the location and direction of the house. Okay, so not all the houses will be facing, let's say, south or west, even though they're all built basically at the same time. One will be facing a little bit, you know, tipping to the west. The other one would be probably tipping more to, you know, southwest, and then the other one might be, you know, so each of these houses will have a different direction, will have a different location. So it's reasonable to think that each of them will have different energies. Okay, so my house will not have the same energy as my neighbor's house. Okay, And likewise, your neighbor's house is not going to have the same energy as your house, particularly if if you're tilted, okay. So this is why it's good to just at the first, if you really want to do a proper job of feng shuiing your home, is to find really the permanent energies of your home. And then from there, if you didn't do anything else to change the period, because you can change the period of your house, if you don't change the period of that, and then you're going to be working on that energy transiting, let's say, into period 9. I think I'm going to confuse you guys here. Anyway, so so that's I just wanted to put that out there. As you can see, just by the numbers alone, you know right off the bat that the energies are different. Okay, 5, you all know 5. I think general population though that practices feng shui know the number 5 is not really a great number or something like that. So just by looking at all these numbers, you see that there's different sectors with different energies. Now, how does these energies, this number, how do you call this, affect each other? That's also another thing that you have to consider. Okay, so this is why you have to learn it at a different level. So, but there are basic way of somebody just practicing feng shui if they really want to. I mean, you can go with the 8-house mansions feng shui, which is basically a landform, and it's pure, it's base. You don't really have to go and look into formulas, because when you practice flying stars feng shui, there's a lot of formulas. You're involved with formulas. You're involved with looking at directions. You're involved with trying to find out which is the facing, which is the sitting, which is what direction are you, which sectors you are. So for some who don't want to go into that, then they can practice just the landform, and just maybe the 8-house mansion would actually be good for them already. Okay. Anyway, so again, here is a there's 2 ways sometimes of putting a chart together. One like a square box, and one like a pie chart. Okay, but they both show the natal energies, or the same numbers, and in the same sectors, because this is the permanent energy of a Kan house, which means it's a house that is sitting north 2, facing south 2. The Chinese people view time as cyclical. It's a cycle, like I was explaining earlier, the great cycle. So so sometimes they'll say, how do I put the south on the on the top, or the north on the top, or something like that? I mean, when you're using your compass, and when you're using like a compass map or something like this is when you go into plotting your chart, or trying to find out which direction of your house is. When you use a compass like this, okay, don't know if you can see it, but when you're using a compass like this, okay, then you just move the compass direction to the directions of to the proper location, proper direction. Okay, just remember that although south is usually placed at the top, it's only a conventional way the Chinese do it. In practice, the Chinese north is the same magnetic north as the Western convention. So this does not mean that you flip the directions. Okay, in feng shui, whether you live in the southern hemisphere or whether you live in the northern hemisphere, north is north and south is south, wherever you are. Okay, so it's usually the Chinese practice of taking the reference point from the south, which is as always placed at the top. Okay, and so permanent and natal chart, of a house is based on that, on the period of birth and facing direction of a specific building. So the chart will not change where the building is facing, where the building is located, unless how do you call this? Like we're going back to the natal chart. The chart will not change unless we rebirth it, when there's a rebirth, okay, and through major renovation, and there's a couple of ways of doing that, okay. How do you call this? Anyway, that is another, how do you call this? Changing the house period, that can be a subject for another time, because I don't know how much time the problem with me is once I start talking, I don't know how to stop. Anyway, so okay, so again, this is like a kind of a repeat of what I said earlier. Even if you find a good move-in date, it's it's still it's not as good as if you don't have if you have a good Feng Shui house. The move-in date is really a little bit just an icing on the top, okay. And because the thing is, we can always choose a good move-in date, but it won't change the Feng Shui of the house. If the house doesn't have good Feng Shui, then it doesn't have good Feng Shui, okay. So you have to, when you're especially when you're out there looking for a house, you have to look at the Feng Shui property of the property, or it's really a waste of your time. Because once you move in and trying to then apply all this Feng Shui that you learn, know, and whatever to to forms that are really hard to change, it's gonna be near impossible, right? It's really, especially landforms, right? Especially natural landforms, right? So I have another topic coming up, which is the 5 situations that you want to avoid or you don't want to see because it can affect your income. So that video, I'm still working on it, is really going to be talking about landforms. And that's what we like, when we're out looking, and that's even how we Feng Shui consultants and practitioners, I do, I usually don't rush into the house, and like a few of the Feng Shui clients I have say, "What are you doing outside?" I said, "I'm not ready to go in yet because I'm looking at your Feng Shui outside." So it brings to mind that if you're also looking for a Feng Shui consultant, you have to know how they're practicing, So we usually will look at the landforms, and we also will ask for your birthdays. So it's so there's some sort of disclosure there that you have to share, right? Anyway, I hope that how do you call this? Do I have any more? Okay, just one tidbit here. What you're looking now at is on the screen is just a floor plan, and with the compass superimposed on the floor plan. Okay, and the reason, like I think one of you was asking which one is more important. Well, the bedroom is important, the kitchen is important, and the main door is also important. And when you are looking at your floor plan and you're superimposing the Feng Shui natal chart of your house on that floor plan, then you can tell which sector of your home has the best Feng Shui for whatever activity. Okay, so like here you can see, let's say we're looking into period 8. So period 8 would be the top star there, the top number and the top star. So we're looking at 8. And there's a reason that we have all these numbers, because classical Feng Shui will look at all these numbers and interpret and find the best sector or room for you based on what you intended to use it for. If you're looking for a bedroom, then you're looking at, the health, and the kitchen, you're looking at the health as well. So you want to use the energies of your home after you find the natal chart or the permanent energy of your home, and superimpose it on your floor plan based on the direction. And then from there you can actually find which area, which room, if you have 3 bedrooms like here, which room is the best one for you. Okay, so I also have this slide was also from another video. If you want to check out that other video, I think it's about let's say you're a couple and you and your partner have different how do you call this, Gua number, or what as best direction, and suddenly you're posed with a situation. Okay, which direction do I sleep from? Do I sleep in the east when I'm east, and then my partner is a west person, or do I sleep in the west, and that type of thing. So I touch on that subject in my video. I think it's called East and West Group People. So if you want, you can go to that video for more explanation on this particular slide that you're seeing here. Okay, so how do you call it? Okay, I guess that's how do you call this? Does anybody out there have any other questions? I don't know how long. I mean, it's yeah, I think it's been an hour. Hopefully you guys have actually gleaned some helpful information from here. And okay, and if you guys find that this live chat is helpful and might want to help get some more viewers the next time I do another live chat, please type a yes. So if it's something that that you think is gonna be helpful, and I know I just sprung this on you guys, and I know it's a Sunday. I'm not sure what time it is out there. Okay, I'm not sure if, yeah, how do you call this? I guess in the Philippines it's in the morning, and I think it's 10 in the morning. Hopefully it's, I know it might be a working days for some of you. So where are you from, M, if you don't mind? Because I'm it's also really difficult to plan a time where I can actually accommodate. Okay, okay, so you're in the Eastern time. Are you in the States or in North America? Okay, so I know it's kind of difficult to plan a good time wherein you can get the most people, but my goal here is really not to get the most people. It's just to get get out there and connect with you guys, because I have been doing this for a couple of years without doing any live stream. So it's a little bit tricky, because yeah, I'm not really that tech savvy. Okay, so I need a lot of assistance to set everything up for me first before I can do anything. It's yes, have to learn that aside from Feng Shui, right? Anyway, yeah, thank you thank you guys that you joined me, and I do hope that I have shared with you some good tips out there. For those of you that has come in a bit late or something like that, and I hope my tech guy can edit and polish this up so I can probably even put it back out there on my YouTube channel as a replay. So cross finger, I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you for joining me, Em and Audrey. It was very good of you guys to take time from, let's say, Monday morning and Sunday evening, especially if you guys have to go and work, and to join me and keep me company. It's been really a good pleasure. It's been my pleasure to really share this Feng Shui tips with you guys. Okay. Anyway, I guess it's time for me to say bye for now. If hopefully you both have actually subscribed, like this video if you're and I hope to see you guys again soon in my live chat. How much warning should I give you guys? Yes, that's what yes, Audrey, that's what hubby told me. Do this monthly, then they'll know that you do it monthly. But I'm not really a consistent person, so I might do it monthly, but I won't have a definite time frame. So it can be any day of the month, and it's like my video content out there. I know some are really good at staying. Let's say if they say they put out a video on Saturday or Thursday, they really are consistent and very good at doing that. I tend not to be able to do that. I guess it's a matter of like so many things happening in your life, and that you have to actually consider, right? Okay. Thank you, and I'll see you guys again. Hopefully, well, hopefully I'll get to see it. Oh, thank you. Yes, I've been wanting to do this. It's just that I have to get how do you call this? I have to get my tech guys to help me put it together, or else I might be pushing on the wrong button, and that's gonna be really bad. Okay, so anyway, thanks again, and hope to see you guys again in my next live chat. Okay, bye now.